All right. Next mailbag question comes from TJ Lang. Speaking of
stop. Really?
Yeah. TJ Lang said, were you behind pushing the media out of the locker room? That's you, Kyle.
TJ trying to get you, yo.
Yo! Okay,
hilarious.
TJ, first off, screw you.
I wonder if that's actually him.
That is. That's TJ. TJ, man, I love you. And a little sidebar about TJ. When I was a rookie and I was still like, trying to figure out, get my bearings about me, and I'm playing the Packers, and it's Mike Daniels, Clay Matthews, all these monsters. TJ walked up to me after the game. He's like, keep your head on right. You're going to be a good player. I'll never forget the conversation he had with me after that.
Nice.
Shout out to TJ. But you know what? I was in Washington, and you've probably seen this on the internet, but I was in Washington after a Monday night game. I was playing hurt. Matt Ioannidis was giving me the business. and all I wanted to do was get out of the locker room after the game. Talk to the media and get out of the locker room. And we did our 1-2-3 break at the end of the game. We beat the Commanders at the time, but they weren't named that. We beat them, and we did 1-2-3 break. And I immediately went to the shower to get my locker to get my towel, drop trowel. Tariq Cohen, our do everything running back, went IG live to go, do a little post game dancing, and I was in the background just like in compression short. I was,
he's outside,
compression shorts to outside quickly, and sometimes things don't happen very nice. So TJ, I get what you're saying here, and I don't know. I didn't make any phone calls about this, but I wasn't the first guy. I probably won't be the last guy to be nude on camera in a locker room, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that the media is in there. Ironically enough, it was my own teammate that got me. It wasn't the media. Thanks. So at the end of the day, I could care less. Like, if you need a safe space to go talk to the media, let that be your thing. Come see me in my locker.
Well, we've talked about this before, Kyle. The locker room is probably the most unique, quote unquote, office out of any career field in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So many different personalities, so many different economical backgrounds. And I just think, and again, we're in the media now, but I always felt like if you wanted to talk to the media, like you should be able to do that outside the locker room, because guys want to be able to feel free to say what they want to. And that's what makes the locker room beautiful, because everybody grew up differently in there and you can have candid conversations. The last thing you want is to have that put out there because somebody from the media was overhearing that, right?
Yep.
So I see it from both ends of the spectrum. I know the media has a job to do, right? They're there to ask questions, to do their stories and whatnot for the rest of the week. But I always felt like, maybe if there was just a designated area where like the media could be like, can we talk to you, out here? I have no issue with that, just because I feel like guys just feel more free. And it also brings the team closer together. Like besides meeting room, that's where you spend most of your time with your teammates, in the locker room, having those conversations. So I thought that was always a thing that they maybe tweaked, because I know a lot of players hated the media coming in. One, because like you said, a lot of times you're getting dressed and undressed and guys are in there and you're trying to ask
tough
questions.
losses,
or after a loss.
Space.
Exactly, 100%. But I'm even talking about daily throughout the week. It's just like, I don't even feel like I can change right now, because there's like 30 people in here. I can't walk around, and guys walk around in towels and stuff like that.
Or less.
They put another guy.
A lot of O-linemen enjoy the "don't look at me." They do the "I bet you won't keep your eyes off me." The worse the body on the O-lineman, the more naked they're going to be.
100%. So like, yeah, I wouldn't mind a spot like right outside, which I think they do now, right outside the locker room, where guys, again, we respect the media and we know they have a job to do.
100%.
I just feel like the locker room's a different place.
And, there's women in there too as well. And, you have to, now that I have a wife and daughters, like I realize, and I didn't when I was playing, and it didn't impact how I treated these people at all. I've mostly treated the media pretty well. Yeah. That's why I'm in it now. But now I realize, like, these are people's girlfriends, wives,
100%,
sisters.
Like,
so
there needs to be some respect.
Some decorum.
Sure. 100%.
All right, let's get to this Bears question, or should I say questions, because
oh my God,
everyone wanted to know, Kyle, about this. Here, I'll read them out for you guys. Why won't the Bears fire the head coach now? Should the Bears fire Ryan Poles since he refused to fire Matt Eberflus?
Should I rapid fire these?
How far down do the Chicago Bears woes go? Can you play Sunday? Is history repeating itself for the Bears? Do you think Poles' hands are tied by ownership in regards to firing Eberflus? Do you think the Bears will make the right choice this offseason? I think I can answer the last one. They probably won't make the right choice this offseason, but you go ahead.
So pull these questions up again. That's a great looking collage there, by the way, Harry. So Cindy Frashecki, the answer to your questions, why won't the Bears fire the head coach now? Because they've never done it. It's just not something that the Bears do. Virginia McCaskey and the George McCaskey Brain Trust in Chicago. They just won't allow it. It's not a classy way to do it, in their opinion.
I agree with that line of thinking too. I don't think firing coaches mid-season is ever like
no. It's
an
ejection. You got to get it right in the offseason.
Literally never worked out. Which is why
should the Bears fire Ryan Poles since he refuses to fire Matt Eberflus? No, they should not fire Ryan Poles. Ryan Schiffman, what's up, coach? How far down do the Chicago Bears woes go? Is it as simple a fix as changing the OC, or are their problems deeply rooted in talent and development, especially on the offensive line? I think that talent and development is a big issue there, obviously. I think that the coordinator and the quarterback was not the right pairing, and the writing was on the wall from the very beginning. You could see it with an Adam Hogue interview with Jackson Smith and Jigba in the offseason, where they asked him about what their new OC was going to be like, and he just said, good luck. And you know what? I tried to ignore it at the time, but you can't ignore things that are that bright and shining. And in my opinion, they got it wrong from the very beginning with Waldron. Can you play Sunday? I could.
Is my man snatching the other day?
Is history repeating itself for the Bears?
I saw that.
Yes, it is, unfortunately, David. Yes, it is. But I do think that we can avoid the iceberg. Right now, we are just in some shitty, rough waters, and I could say it could get even worse than this. Do you think Poles' hands are tied by ownership in regards to firing Eberflus, or is he just too stubborn to give up his own guys? Claypool, Velus, Nate Davis. Here's what I think. I think all the people that are in positions of power in Chicago are represented by the same agent, and
they are.
That's kind of sketchy. Do you think that the Bears will make the right choice this offseason? And here's where I'll buck the trend of negativity. I think they will. I think they will lose out, maybe have one win the rest of the season, and they will make a change immediately, and they will get first dibs on the coach that the Chicago Bears need and deserve. I think it starts with getting a head of football operations that is somebody that's a football guy. I don't want a businessman. I don't want a lawyer. I don't want a chaplain. I don't want Jack Easterby. What I want is Mike Vrabel. I want a guy. I'm not talking about head coach.
Yeah.
I want to elevate Mike Vrabel's position and make him even more important than a head coach. And I want him to be somebody that builds the culture. I want you to then get the best offensive coach available and use the pieces on your defensive side of the ball to maintain a competitive football team. But I think it doesn't start until you put somebody with a real football background in charge of football decisions in Chicago. And I think that's what the people deserve.
So would you want him to have more power than Poles, Vrabel?
I want Poles, Vrabel, and Ian Yates Cunningham to work hand in hand together. But I want Vrabel to have final say.
My 1 point to add, Bears last 6 drafts, 3 offensive linemen drafted in the top 100, and their one lone starting offensive lineman from like the pre-Poles era, James Daniels, they let him walk out the door. So,
and then he got even better in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, for sure.
When that's the case,
because Braxton,
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to build an offensive line, right? You don't have any. They didn't have any. It's not like the Eagles where you had all these guys grandfathered in, and even the Eagles invest a lot more than the Bears do in their offensive line.
Go look at the years we had success offensively. We had some badass groups on the front.
Building an offensive line through free agency is freaking difficult.
Very much so.
The Commanders did a good job of it, but they also had some homegrown talent to bolster to that. But it's tough, man. It's just because if a guy's letting an offensive lineman walk out the door, usually it's because they're injured or something else is going on with them that they're willing to let them walk. More often than not, if a guy's good, they get re-signed and they stay there their entire career until they can't give anything left. It's almost no one lets a good offensive lineman walk out the door. So you got to draft him. Got to draft him.
Perfect example. And it's hard to do this because it made no sense why they signed all these guys, is the Rams, right? They signed, Avila was a second round pick.
Yeah.
But Jonah Jackson, and they had Dotson as well. All 3 of those guys are guards. None of them are centers. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what, and again, I think Les Snead, home run draft, has done a really good job developing, especially him and McVay, developing lower end draft picks to become really good players. But I just didn't understand that one, right? I was like, at first they cross-trained Avila to do it all off season in training camp, but then right before the season they wanted to switch. And Kyle, you can speak to this. Like, what does that do for an offensive lineman when you think you're going to play center and they switch you to guard, and the guard thinks he's going to play guard, and then they switch him to center? We saw some of the issues this past Monday night with that, and all 3 of those players are really great players, but I don't think they're in a winning situation because of one guy's going to have to play center out of position.
It's like when we talk about the Chicago Bears receiver room and how they have talent at the receiver room, but they don't have the right kind of talent for their situation. And you look at some of these mismatched receiver cores around the offense or around the NFL, and offensively, you want different archetypes at different positions. You want a speedster, you want a big body guy, you want a separator. Well, same thing with offensive line. There are God-made guards, God-made tackles, and God-made centers.
For sure.
Our brains are different. Our bodies are different. Our experiences are different. And when you pluck them out of their pond and put them in somebody else's pond, they're going to feel uncomfortable. And it takes time and continuity. And if you don't have that, it's not good, to your point.
All right, next question. Seems like even the good teams are struggling. This from Scott from Oakland. Seems like even the good teams are struggling to protect their quarterback. Lions, Texans. Do you think that the league should make some minor changes to typically annoying penalties like guys on the line, keep the motion rules, pass blocking scarcity? We kind of discussed this the other day that I think the NFL might, but I'm not sure what you can necessarily do. Rather than, I think the only thing is like a numbers match sort of rule where you can't have more on the line or like than the offense has on the line or something to prevent.
Talking about defensive wise?
Yeah, I'm talking about like defensive line.
So if you're in a condensed formation,
what rule could you use?
So if you have 5 offensive linemen and you have a tight end on each side, so that's 7 people, you could only have 7 people in the tackle box.
Something like that.
Like you have to
That's
match.
nonsense. How about we work on technique? What everybody saying? How about we work on technique?
I'm with you because if you put all those guys here and we do have an answer for your pressure package, somebody's going to be screaming.
Yeah, it's going to be one-on-one if all those guys come.
Yep.
Like, make a play.
I'm with you.
You remember when, who was it that said that they should outlaw the too high safety look?
Yeah.
Kuiper, right?
Mel Kiper.
Like, what are we talking about here?
I agree. I don't want to chase you.
How about work on your technique, your fundamentals, and get better? How about that?
Get good, kid.
This one comes from Coach Brisket. He says A gap power or wide zone.
Oh. Am I front side or backside? Am I on the double team?
I was saying the double team. He wants the power.
Am I in the double? Because I ain't pulling. I hate that pulling shit. I want to be at the deuce. I want to be at the point of attack. I want to displace the line of scrimmage. Or if we're wide zone, I want to run 39, and I want to be the guy with the 3 technique on the backside.
I hate that.
I'm passing you to my tackle, and then you know who I'm going to go get. I'm going to go get your little homie. I'm going to bring him back to the wall and put him in the bleachers.
There's nothing worse in the wide zone scheme when you're either the nose or the 3 technique, and that front side guard really gets out on you, and then the center, and you still got hands on him, and then the center just whams you
and you
over.
Ricochet.
Oh my God.
It's this. Boom, boom.
Ain't nothing worse than that, man.
I love wide zone because you know what? There is so when you call A gap power, that's it. It's in the name. It's going to the A gap. And I mean, for 95% of those plays are going to hit right behind the puller, striking a match off that double team. When you go wide zone, you have so many options. You have so many options depending on how the linebackers play, how your fits are at the line of scrimmage. You can cut, you can bounce it, you can go inside the tackle, you can cut right behind the center.
Yep.
You can even bend that thing back. So wide zone, in my opinion, is the answer 7 days a week.